Welcome back. Are you excited? Are you excited, Angie?
I was born excited, baby.
Where are you today?
Oh, I'm in Turrbal.
I'm in Wurundjeri country again on Naarm. So, get that out of the way because we want to ask Megan Pustetto to say, let's get into it. We've got our second part of the interview with Megan Pustetto. So here it is. Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Who's your least favourite and your most favourite person that you've ever interviewed or researched and, done work on, reported on?
Stories reported on.
Yeah, stories.
I get asked this so much. It's really hard to say. Like a lot of the people that I have on the podcast I like generally. Reporting on, I don't know, the Kieran and Tim stuff during your season, Angie, was pretty good. The Super Spreaders era.
Yeah, that was a goodie. Super spreaders.
So good. You use that so often because it was that perfect virus time of the pandemic and you made it into these men who were just rooting anything that would move. And it was like,
so
my
good.
God, there's such a good crossover for what we were all going through at the time.
There was so many as well. There was so many.
Yes.
Like the Tim
I
thing
didn't know
shocked
about
me.
the Secret Girlfriends.
The Kieran
The Kieran
thing was
thing
just
I
wild.
expect, but the Tim thing, no, did not expect that.
You know the girlfriend that he had the girlfriend before the show, went on Bachelorette, and now he's back with her.
Yes, I did know about
just
her.
waited for him.
We did speak about her actually quite a bit during filming, so it's weird that they got back together. So there you go.
Who would take him back
know.
after declaring love for someone on national television?
I got told that they planned this, like it was part of their business thing. Like, I'll go on the show, get publicity, then we can launch a business. And they have literally gone and done that.
You know what? If that's what happened, then good on them. I'm so glad I didn't pick him. But yeah, that's so wild. Actually, all of them, I wouldn't be surprised if they did stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if old mate who I picked was still married. So look, it is what it is. Those shows are, you never know what you're going to get from. Actually, he was still married.
I know. That was such a good season. I did enjoy chatting to Jamie was a wild
Oh
ride
my
as well.
God, I forgot you did that. Didn't you do
Do you remember that?
You did like 3
I know,
episodes.
five episodes.
Holy shit.
It was
So
such
many.
good content,
Because you know what
wasn't he?
happened?
What?
I went and met him up in Byron Bay because he only would do it in person. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll come up. It was like December anyway. I'm like, make a holiday of it. I go up there and I'm like, okay, we've got an hour. These are the questions so you can prepare before because you know how he likes to talk in very long form. We get into there. I had to film it I was staying in like this cabin thing, so I had to record it in there. We were in there for 7 hours.
That's right.
Recording.
That's right.
7 hours with
I was trapped in a freaking cabin in like the Byron Bay hinterland with Jamie, just going off talking about whatever. And I was like, I am not going to be able to edit this. So I just chucked
And
the
people
whole
probably
thing.
loved it.
7 hours worth. And you know what? I've just remembered now.
Yeah.
That's when I first started talking to you. Like, I think that was our first kind of
Is it?
DMing. Yeah. Yeah, around that because I just thought it was so interesting and that you were in this room with this guy because I was in a Hummer with him.
Oh, my
And
God.
I just remember it was like he was
the bachelorette party.
Yes, even though I had all these other men.
Yes.
He was at the end of the men and he was
Yeah.
still had this laser
God.
focus on me that I just kept answering his questions even though there was a million men in between us. He's just so freaking
What happened to him?
He like pinpoints you and just like focuses on that one person and he gets very like
And he was
intense.
a firefighter, so he
It
used
was
to
a lot.
start the fires with his eyes
Yeah.
and then go and put them out with his hose.
His actual hose. I feel like he's got MIA. Like I'd never hear about him or see him or anything.
Well, wasn't there that photo you put up, Angie, of him and Paris and someone else, and you just kind of made that TikTok joke about
Oh,
like,
yeah. Go on reality TV,
He
they
was in that,
said.
so he's around.
It'll be
That's
fun,
right.
they said.
Yeah.
It's like Dean, Jamie.
That was so
And then
good.
the little kid's throwing up in its mouth.
Every year there's one.
So good. All right. What's another one? Let's not talk about those guys anymore. It kind of triggers me. I'm so glad your podcast wasn't on then because I could just imagine
Triggers me.
the dross those boys would have said
Oh
and
my
just
God,
things that aren't
yes.
true that get out. Oh, God. Makes me feel sick. I've got one. Let's
I've got
Yeah.
turn it
okay,
around
you
on
go,
you.
go.
Have you
Might be the same one.
ever
yeah.
dated anyone you've spoken about or anybody that's in the reality TV world that we would be surprise attacked about?
Clear the throat and everything.
You
for
know
this
what?
One.
It's because everyone says that there's like rumors going around which have been started by whoever or whatever, Harrisons of the world, that I've slept with the whole entire MAFS cast, all the Bachelorette like all of them apparently I've slept with, and that's how I get my stories.
Wow, even the women?
Not the women, but apparently I've slept with all the men and that's how I get my stories. But no thanks. I will give you some tea. There was one person recently that I hooked up with, but that's as far as it went. And it was just like a one night fun thing, drunk.
Well, you're
and
only
that was
human.
it. But
How
there is like
recent?
one person and I'm like, I will own that. Like,
Do you not want
last
to
year.
say? Oh, how do you know?
But no, I'm not saying. But aside from that, there is absolutely no one because I'm always just like, you don't want to shit where you eat.
No,
you do
you
not want to shit where you eat.
really
Right.
don't.
It's very, and we
It
all learn our
causes
lessons that way. You do
so
it once,
many
and you're like,
headaches.
yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I was like scared to do it because I was like, you know what? I had such a thing about not because I was like, everyone already thinks that I've hooked up with all these guys that I haven't. So the first time that I do, they're just going to think all the other rumors were true.
Yeah.
So that's why I was very against it. And it's just like, it's hard when you're a woman reporting. They just assume, you're a big slut. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was one like kiss, but
Yeah. Well, look, you're only human and you're allowed to hook up with people. It's just unfortunate that, like, so many people, that if you did, people would, people are funny like that. But who
assume the
cares?
worst. I will say though, it was someone that was no longer relevant. I was not reporting on anymore. So it wasn't like a conflict of interest
Was
or
it
anything.
someone from
but
my season?
I will say never again. Never again.
Was it someone that dyes his hair blonde?
No. No comment.
Okay, but going on that then, I've got a question. What would you like to clear up about yourself that you've ever heard? Apart from that, is there any rumours or anything or misconceptions that people have about you that you'd like to say right now that's just not true?
You know what? It's so funny. I feel like I don't need to clear this up, but like there's a video by a certain MAFS guru going around calling me a pedophile, a rapist, what else? Yes. So I'd just like to clear that up. Just for the record, I'm neither of those things, but I feel like that's pretty obvious.
You can't
to
say
every
things like
sane
that.
person out there.
You can't say things like
I
that.
know.
That's proper
I know.
defamation.
Yes, it is.
They've got no proof. That's proper defamation.
No.
That's so
Can we
weird.
sue him
Racist.
on
Oh no,
your
sorry, it
behalf?
was racist, sex pest or pedophile, something like that, and a racist. So
Oh my
anyways,
God.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good.
For the record, that's not true.
Of course it's not true. Otherwise we wouldn't have you on the podcast. My goodness. I think you might be in jail. Do you ever get like severe anxiety knowing it's coming up to like, say, for example, MAFS season? Because I always feel like they're so much more ruthless and the Bachelor franchise just isn't really doing it for anybody anymore. Sad one. But do you ever get like extreme anxiety knowing that all these people are going to come to you and tell you things and like what's the truth, what's right from wrong, and whether some of it's just rumors?
It doesn't freak me out. I get kind of excited off.
You're like,
Get a high from it, kick out of it. No, I love doing that, but like I think I've got a pretty good radar now when it comes to knowing what's true and when someone's bullshitting and when they're not. Like, I mean, there has been times in the past when someone may have spun a shit story, but generally, I've been doing this for so long now, you can kind of tell when someone is BSing you and when they're genuine. But yeah, MAFS is hectic. Like I did not leave my desk for like 4 months. I had no life. Like there's just so much content. These people that they cast on that show are just insane. There is so many skeletons to uncover. So I always enjoy that. But it is a bit stressful. It's more stressful knowing that you are going to call these guys out who are, the Dean Wells and the Harrison types that will come after you afterwards. So there's that kind of like MAFS hangover where they then come swinging for you because you have called them out on their BS. So I think that gives me a little bit of anxiety.
And like, what about if you go out, like going out and thinking you're going to run into them?
Well, you know what's so funny? I am not really scared to run into them. I think they're more scared to run into me because they are hiding behind their computer when they're saying this. So I'll give you an example, actually. A couple of months ago before Christmas, I think it was, I saw Dean at a party, like it was on a boat as well on the island. And I was like, hell freaking no, I'm not getting on this boat and being stuck on a freaking island with this guy. Like it was just after he'd posted all of these videos about me and like he attacked my family and doxed my brother and all this stuff. Anyway, won't get into that.
Oh
but
my God.
I saw him there and I had a bit of a freak out because I'm like, I just don't want to be in his aura. I don't want to be around this guy. He's just toxic. And anyway, I was at the bar and he came up to me after saying all this horrible stuff to me and goes, Megan, how are you? And went to give me a hug and a kiss.
What?
I was just like,
That's
I think I literally,
weird.
yes, it was weird. And he was so like, it was so genuine. Like he genuinely was like, hey, how you going? How you been? And he was with his girlfriend and I was just like, looked at him. I was kind of in shock. I was just like, F off. And then I walked away. Like I was just like, who does that? Like I don't know if it's just like a game to them or they just get, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
think it
weird.
is.
So,
I think
and then I think
separate.
after that he ended up leaving because I think he felt uncomfortable. But I was just like, what the hell? Like,
That's so bizarre. It's almost like their online presence is a different world from when they see you in
Yes.
person. They don't, I don't like that. That's so bizarre. To me, it's like he's a character.
yes, it was almost like that. Like I was like, wait, what? Like a couple of weeks ago, like you were literally making these videos about me and attacking me. And I'm like, what the actual F?
That is so bizarre. And oh my God,
Weird.
But he is weird.
Side note, that
He is
episode you did with his girlfriend was something else.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
He was in the background, like telling her to
Yeah,
ask
you
these
could
questions
tell.
to make me look bad. I was like, what is this?
It was just so awkward and you handled it so well. And she'd be like, I don't know. What do you reckon? And I'm like, stop answering her question with another question. It was so weird. I got like secondhand embarrassment, but I loved it. I was like, oh my God, this is so addictive.
It was like a car crash. She was like also like waiting for him to like she was pausing and waiting to
Yeah.
give him the questions. I was like,
And you
what
would
the
just
fuck is
keep
going
going.
on?
Like you would not get the awkwardness. Like you sat in that awkwardness and you reveled in it and you just kept going. And I was like, this is like some dedication right here. That is some good shit.
It was good content.
Yes.
That's so good.
Where did you get your love of gossip from?
I don't know, actually. I think I've just always been like inquisitive about other people, maybe a little bit nosy. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so actually, it's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
I went to my 10-year school reunion, I think 2 years ago now. God, I'm feeling old. Maybe longer, actually. Maybe 3 years ago. And I think I just started the podcast. And everyone was like, it's so funny that you're doing this because like at school, you were the gossip queen. You would come up to us and be like, what's the goss? What's everyone doing? And I was like, I totally forgot about that. But they reminded me and I'm like, that's so funny. I was kind of destined, I guess. I'm doing
It's like
what
in
I was
your
made
blood.
to do.
What you're meant to do. Do
Yeah.
you know where the term gossip comes from?
I knew
Just
you were going to do this.
interestingly,
Evie loves this.
'cause
She
I-
loves this fact.
You know,
fun
you
fact.
know, Megan, that I love useless.
She
Evie
loves a
facts.
fact.
It's my favorite part of your episodes.
Yeah,
It's good. Hey, I
haven't
love
done one
them.
in a while, so this is we're just blending
Oh,
one
you
in for
are.
you because it's one for you, and I really think it's wonderful because the patriarchy changed the word gossip. The gossip actually means godparent in kind of like medieval pagan times. Like I could be getting that wrong, but it's between two women. Like after a woman's given birth, her best friend or who would end up being the godparent. It's the connection that they have to each other. They tell each other stories. One would then go and tell the other people what was happening with the woman who's just given birth, and it then turned into the word gossip meant to be friends, to chat.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then patriarchy took it and gave it another connotation completely, and started burning women and saying that if you did gossip, that you were going to die by being burnt at the
Really?
stake. So,
It's
yeah,
so
it's
heavy.
really interesting that,
What?
gossip is actually a really good thing. It's connection.
Yeah.
We were all so interested in each other. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We want to know we want to connect with each other. So for gossip to be even now still coined as something that is so negative, it's like, why is your podcast so friggin' popular then?
People
if it's
love
such a
gossip.
negative thing. It's because people love gossip. It's to chat.
You're so right. It is given such a negative connotation. And I was listening to something else a while back about gossip, and it was like, I think women back in the day or whenever used it as a form of communication because we didn't have social media or websites or news, and they would trade information about like who the dangerous men were or who they needed to avoid or what to do with their kids and stuff like that. So it's a learning thing as well about you're learning about other people and their behavior and like what not to do or who to avoid or what's good, what's bad. So I think it's really, really important in society as well. Like even in today's society, like some things aren't news, they're gossip, and it's like people still need to know that information. It's still valuable information and it's so important, especially like with the patriarchy and calling out bad men. It's never going to be reported on by these mainstream news outlets. It's relying on gossip and word of mouth. Like that's how the whole Me Too movement started.
Yes.
That's
There's
so
many
true.
layers to it, isn't there?
They know that it's going to result in them being called out and held to account. And I think that's what a lot of people do to me personally.
Yeah.
These guys call me out, attack me, try to degrade me and challenge or question my integrity and my reputations because they know that I'm the voice that's going to call them out. So it's kind of like their defense mechanism to stop that chain of communication from happening.
You. That's right, to silence you. The patriarchy have got many, many different ways of doing it. And it's funny, it's almost like, the Bush Telegraph way of, learning, news and everything. I guess you could call it the woman telegraph. It's us talking to each other and giving each other information that would benefit us and not benefit them. So, of course, they're going to try to get in our way. And it's really weird because I don't know many men and they claim how much women love gossip, but I'm sorry, you ask any woman that's worked with men, they go, men gossip.
They love a gossip.
So much worse than women.
They love a whinge.
They love it. They love hearing the gossip. Every guy I know that has a female, a cishet woman as a partner, she comes home or she gets on the phone. I've seen TikToks of a woman going, watch my husband come around the corner when I pretend I'm on a phone call right now. Yes. Oh my God, really? He said what? All of a sudden a man is like tiptoeing back to the kitchen and he goes, and they get caught. They're like, caught you.
You
See?
love it.
You want to know just as much as us.
Yeah.
Oh, I have so many girls, so many women saying that their partners listen to the podcast, and so they might have like heard them listening and then they're like, but they got so invested and now they listen on their own. So I'm like, they do love it. And also men gossip all the time about sport and about whatever they talk about.
Yes. It's just they don't call it gossip.
Still gossip.
So is it such a bad thing after all?
That's so true. Okay, so is there someone that you haven't had on the podcast that you really want? Like, who's your reality TV dream person to have on?
Can be anyone.
Oh, that's hard. You guys? Is that the right answer?
You have to say that you're speaking to us. We don't have any gossip.
Nothing.
We're so
We've
boring.
Got nothing
Oh, actually,
you could someone that
you could probably tell me a lot of the rumors you heard, and I could respond to them. That would be a fun one. But no, like, is there like? No, you've probably had them all.
Anyone in
I don't know.
world.
I did have my dream person on. My dream person was Perez Hilton because he was like not my inspo, but he's the one that started this whole blogging celebrity gossip thing. So I had him on the show and it was really cool to like ask him all the questions. And he's a little bit controversial. Like he told me, because I think at the time when I interviewed, I was involved in a little bit of scandal, like calling people out and stuff. There was a little bit of scandal. And he was like, I said, do you reckon I should just like pull back a little bit and like not engage with these people because it just kind of leads to drama? And he was like, no, post about it, TikTok about it, like call them out more. And he's like, you've got to engage in the drama, poke the bear. So that's his whole MO. But yeah, he was so interesting to chat to. I don't know if you dream guests,
that's a good one though.
He's full.
He was a good get. Yeah.
So now it would be someone that you haven't gotten in, someone that you've not been able to get. So if there is anyone that you can think of.
I can't really think of anyone. Any suggestions? If anyone's listening, if you've got any suggestions, let me know.
Yeah.
I'm all like
because it is about the listeners, isn't it? But we want to know who you would want to know things about that.
I'm all like doing
who we're interested in.
Juicy stories though. Like, so sometimes I have people on the podcast that no one knows about or they're a nobody, but they have a really good story about someone or like, an ex-girlfriend. I love doing that stuff because you get the good story. Sometimes when you get guests on, they just don't give you what you want.
Nah. They got to protect themselves to some degree. Everybody's
unless they were going to be really open and honest, I'd more rather interview a nobody.
Have you had anything like death threats or something that's just been like a huge fright, game changer for you?
Yeah, big threats.
Yeah, I've had a couple of occasions where people have sent me death threats. I think it was last year or the year before. I had this like Instagram account sending me all these threats. They were actual like, go kill yourself. I'm going to kill you. It was so horrible. And
Did you know them?
No, it was a fake account. And I had a lot of harassment leading up to that. So I kind of had an idea of who I thought it was. So I was like, you know what? I'm reporting this to police. I just want them, because unless you get a death threat, the police don't care. They're like, they literally say to me, we'll get off social media. They do not care. So I was like, finally, I've got something that I can like tangible that I can get them to investigate. So they did investigate it. They traced the IP to, it was a relative of another journalist who works in the same field as me. It was their relative. They got charged and found guilty. So there was a whole thing, and
good.
Yeah, and like recently I've had similar stuff happen.
Did you report on that, or you couldn't report on that at the time?
No, I didn't report on it because they weren't a reality star, so I don't think people really care. But I mean, it was super distressing. Like I ended up in like a psych ward for a couple of days around the same time because there was a lot going on, and it does get very stressful. I think from that though, I did build like quite a thick skin, and now it kind of water off a duck's back, but. There's been stuff recently where similar stuff has happened, like death threats have been sent to me that I've reported to police as well. And like my family's been attacked as well, which is that's kind of where I draw the line. I'm like, that's too far. Like attack me, that's fine, whatever. But when you bring other people's family into it who aren't even in this world, it's like not okay.
Yeah, or they're bringing their family members in to help them send you a death threat. I've never understood the death threat thing in writing because of how it can be traced back to
It's so stupid.
Why say it? Why be that dumb to threaten someone's life when it's it's taken very seriously?
Yeah.
I guess people just have that
audacity.
Confidence. Audacity to say it and think that they can, and I guess they have that vitriol, don't they, as well? They just really have a lot of hatred.
The recent death threat I got was from like someone's email with their name on it, and I'm like, what the hell?
Oh my God.
Are you so stupid? Like
some people
straight to the police.
Yeah, I think some people just...
We could just do a whole episode on stupid people.
Yeah.
Imagine. And not an episode of podcast. It's just called Dum Dum.
It really is. It's crazy.
An episode called Dum Dum.
This week's Dum Dum is... We can't say their name, but we'll tell you how dumb they are.
That would be so good.
Oh, my God.
You know, like, how do you put this? Like, where's the line also when someone's like your friend and then you hear gossip? Are you more likely like not going to tell? And then obviously you've been friends with people before, we don't need to name names, and now you're not. So it's like, how do people know when they're, I don't know, like, would people always be scared that you're going to eventually tell their secrets? Or do you have friends that they just know who are in the industry that just know that you would never do that?
It's not my intention, and I haven't actually, like, I've had falling outs with people that I've been friendly with, but I've still never like burnt them or leaked stuff that I could leak that I've got. I just think it's not very professional, and it's kind of a bad look because you don't want to be doing that, and then other people will be scared to talk to you because they're like, oh my God, she might leak my stuff, and so I won't tell her anything. But there has been instances where I'm like, I'm like, some people have said stuff about me publicly that's totally untrue, and I've got like hard receipts to prove it. And I'm like, again, are you stupid? Like, and I have wanted to, but I've kind of just had to refrain from doing it. But there is a fine line between like reporting on people that you are closer to, especially, for example, like through MAFS, you do develop close bonds with all the people that are giving you information, like certain contestants you work really closely with to get their stories out. So it's hard not to build up some sort of rapport or relationship with them. It's just like in any job where you cross people and you get along and you develop a friendship. It is hard, and you are talking quite closely and intimately, and they're telling you stuff and you're helping them, and you do form a connection. But it is hard then, say they go and do something that you have to report on it that is not really in their favour, or if they fuck up or whatever. It's hard.
Yeah.
But there has been times when it's happened and I've just given them a heads up, or I've just told them, do you want to include a comment? And most of the time, if the person is level-headed enough, they will understand that that's my job and that they've done the wrong thing, and that's just how it goes. But then there will be the people that that are not level-headed that will just blow up and call you out and try to like defame you and attack your
Do you ever
your
go to them
reputation
first?
and stuff.
Like, say if you heard something about me or Yvie, would you come to us first and be like, look, I've heard this. Do you mind? Or would you just be like, nah, that's my job. Got to do what I got to do. Bye.
No, I would definitely come to you. And a lot of the times if I've heard that thing, someone else has also heard it. So it's like if I don't report on it, someone else
Who's
will,
gonna
and they
say
might
Someone else will.
and they might not be so kind to
get
you.
a better angle on it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it kind of works in your favor to do that. But I think, I don't know, people always criticize me going, oh, you're friends with all the reality stars, which I'm not really. I have my own group of friends outside of this world. Like I don't really hang around them too often. I try to avoid that. But I don't know, I feel like we're not uncovering like political corruption or anything serious like that. It's all very like fluffy and silly. And it's like, so what if I am friends with some of them?
Yeah. And when you go on these shows, it does sometimes come with, and this is obviously coming from somebody that's done a bunch, comes with that side of it. Media want to talk. There's going to be gossip. There's going to be stuff. But the people who you're talking about, if they know their truth and they know that didn't happen, then they shouldn't get so worked up about it anyway. It's those that really kick off that there is some truth to it because they know they've done it. So it's like you're just calling your own self out anyway. If you know you didn't do that, you just go, oh, okay, well, that didn't happen. You don't have to be like,
exactly. I would just laugh it off and make a joke of it or like be like, oh, lol.
Yeah.
But you know when someone's really upset about something that there is, it's truthful or there is an element of truth to it. But
Definitely.
I don't know. I feel like people need to know that they're going into this and their lives are going to be up for public discussion and they're going to be a public figure and that's what comes with it. And I think a lot of people don't understand that and they only want good stories written about them. And I'm like, that's not how it works.
Yes.
Like
No.
it needs to go both ways. So...
And now, especially every season, we have the Olivias and the Doms and the whoever's coming out of these seasons going, don't, Bronte, or don't go on these shows if you are not ready to have a villain edit because it could happen to you. Don't apply for these shows. And yet, again, we'll get another one. And they are just as guilty. They'll be the ones that said, I wish I'd known. I wish someone. It's like we keep saying
We have.
unless you're
Listen to the
completely
podcast.
willing to have your life scrutinised and everything told and everyone interested in it, whether it's true or not or out of context. Don't go on these shows. Don't go on them. You're not made
you've
for
not
it.
got good mental health, which a lot of us don't. Just don't do
especially.
it. Oh, actually,
Or
that's
if you've got a lot of skeletons in the closet, I'm
In the
like, just
closet.
don't put
Yes.
don't take the risk.
Yes.
Or if you do get a villain edit, I think
Tell.
just totally own it because the villains always get the most
Own it.
publicity and
They
attention. Like the
do.
Jessica
They
Powers,
do.
she's just owned it and she's
But
killed
look
it.
at Abby.
Martha.
That's the
Abby got a
type-
villain
exactly.
edit,
Abby.
and look at her. She's bloody going.
turn it
She's
around.
rolling in it.
Going off. Martha, Jessica, Abby,
They're
they all did
so-
so well with their villain
Yeah.
edits.
You've got to just
They
get that
capitalised
publicity
on them.
and then you
Yeah.
can turn it around afterwards. Get those
Oh, wait.
eyeballs.
I just thought of another one before it pops out of my head. Have you reported somebody whilst watching the show and then afterwards, like I'm just going to use this as an example, right? Probably not a good idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. So say like you watched Olivia and you were like, oh my God, like she was just like a nightmare on that show, right? And now after hearing all the other sides, are you like, oh, sad one, I wish I didn't say those things. And I've seen both sides
Yes,
now and wowee.
Yes, and that is a really good example actually because like I totally was team Dom and I own that and I do regret being so team Dom because I think her behaviour after the show has just been disgraceful and not behaviour that I morally personally support. And so I do regret being team Dom and like giving her even more of a platform and like all these fans behind her, which she would have had already, but I think I just added to it. And I do regret not giving Olivia a chance to like tell her story, given everything that I knew about bad edits and stuff like that. I think in that moment I heard a lot of stuff about her from before the show that kind of tainted me as well. Like I was like, well, her edit's kind of matching what I heard. Dom must be telling the truth. But I think from what I've heard afterwards from people on the show and just all different types of people that Dom really did get a good edit, which I think we've even seen just off her behaviour on social media. She really did get protected. And that was mainly because of the leaked picture. So they weren't legally able to air that.
Yeah.
They couldn't legally air that without her
says a lot.
permission.
So
So,
maybe
they
they
did a
were
bit of a
both-
trade-off.
Both villains, and they just
Well, the two
like
aren't
they
mutually
both could have got
exclusive.
bad edits, but they had to just do one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Look, I don't think Olivia was innocent. She definitely had her moments as well. But I think
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
they were both had their
God, yeah.
moments, and I think Dom's bad moments didn't get shown, only her good, and Olivia's was the other side of the spectrum, only her bad got shown. So I think if we saw
Yeah.
both sides,
Yeah.
it probably just would have been a bit more even. So they can totally twist it like that. But I have been speaking to Olivia
Yeah.
recently, and she seems really lovely. Like, I really
Yeah.
like her. So we've
Everyone I
apologised
hear
and made
that
amends.
meets the both of them says they really dislike Dom when they're in person, but they really like Olivia
Yeah.
in person. I keep
She's
hearing
sweet.
that from people.
She's
She
sweet.
probably
We had a really
to
good
protect
chat and-
herself a lot post show because there was so I couldn't imagine receiving
Yeah.
that much hate just for being yourself in such a toxic environment. Like I always think there's two sides to
Yeah.
every story. Then there's the truth. There's the TV you of the edit.
Yeah.
Then there's the real you, and people can take from it what they want, and the rest can get fucked.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Get fucked.
And
forward about
she's
it.
taken full ownership as well. Like she has even said to me, like,
Yeah.
I wasn't perfect. And I think that's a really good start just to say, I wasn't perfect, but, I'm taking accountability. So that's all you can kind of really ask of people.
Say sorry. It's so
is.
so
It
easy.
Own it.
I love an
I
apology.
do love a
talk.
redemption story as well.
Oh,
yeah.
me too.
Australia does too.
Oh,
we love a battler.
we love a
We love
battler.
someone that gets thrown under the bus and then comes out and redeems themselves.
Oh,
we just love
the
it.
best.
And we love to say, you know what, I was wrong about that person. No, I will say it. I was wrong about that
Especially if
person.
it's
And
about
you
a
know
man.
what? They've been through a lot.
It's about a
Yeah,
man, but if it's about a woman, they're like,
especially
oh,
with
what a nut. She's just making
She's a slut.
excuses.
Yeah, and she's hysterical.
Yeah. Lock her
She's just
up.
crazy.
And someone like rapes and
Lock
kills,
her
and they're
up.
like, yeah, give him another shot. He deserves
God.
it. He's worked hard. It's like, shut up.
I know, and a woman does
Someone that
one
loses
small
their
thing.
license,
gets-
drink driving, and another man does it. Goes, oh, but it was mental health.
Yeah.
Oh, what a hero for speaking out about it. Nearly killed someone, but
We're not going to
good
say who we're
God.
talking about with that, though.
Not going to say who, but on that note, can I say thank you for coming on to our wee little podcast? And we've been trying to get you for quite a while. So I'm really glad that we finally pinned you down on the bed and had our way with you.
Oh, God.
So
Sounds very
no,
story.
Getting
we've pinned
excited
you
over
down
here.
on the mic.
It's been a while.
I know. Thank you so much for having me on. I've long-time fans of you guys.
Whoa. Holy Marcella. That
Zealous.
was something else. I think it's really interesting to have somebody that's always used to, being the interviewer, now being interviewed.
Yeah.
Like that must have been very
she was
different.
nervous,
She was.
wasn't
It's
she?
nice to see her nervous
she
because
was
she makes
great.
everybody else nervous.
Yes, yeah.
Sometimes I was like,
It's good
oh,
that-
what is she going to know that she's going to share? The diva comment through
Yeah.
me. I've never been called that before.
Yeah, well,
You never
I've
know.
always wanted to be a young diva like Pauline.
Yeah, maybe that's what they meant, actually. Maybe I was a young diva.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I could have seen one of the.
Singing Donna Summer songs.
Oh, for surezies. But no, that was good. It was nice.
But it was good because, it does create empathy when you're on the other side. So it helps. I think in some way we've done a community service.
Oh, I liked.
It helped Megan understand a few things about being on the other side of a microphone
Yes.
and, that kind of things of that
it's nice to see things on the other side.
We're glad that you have stayed with us. So please rate and review us. Subscribe to the Two Girls One Pod. And I guess the last thing that we have to say is really different to what we normally say at the end of every episode, which is
Have the day.
have a very Merry Christmas.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. I thought I was
Yeah, no. Christmas is
Just
ages
joking,
away.
joke. Let's do it.
Have the
You
day
ready? You ready? The day
that you
you
deserve. We love you guys.
We love you.
Bye.